What is up with Khabib? Now, I gotta tell you, I realize I'm starting a bit of a thing, and it's more of a principle in addition to possibly I've uncovered something. But it's one of those things of whether I did or not, there's a lesson here. I brought to you guys the other day. The UFC went and they took Khabib's fight with Conor and they broke it down. They put out this piece. It was like all the audio that Khabib had done, but it's extremely relevant. That is allegedly the most watched fight of all time, at least the largest pay-per-view. That has existed online through the world of theft, not to mention where it belongs through a paid subscription to Fight Pass. It has been aired and re-aired, and the UFC did not just take the footage of which they own and put it out. They went into the kitchen, that's what they call the edit room, and they re-edited it. They added a level of production to it, and then they put it out. And I talked to you guys about this the other day. If I'm being redundant, I apologize. I'll move on with the new subject now, but I went back and rewatched it again. I mean, it's going all over the place. Like, I can't avoid this. Thing's been sent to me 20 different times between the manias and the elbows and the real journalists like Okamoto and the fake journalists like Jesse Holland. Like, I can't avoid seeing this in my daily life. Why did I just take a shot at Jesse Holland? Because he's the editor who can't get a story right and just printed that I lost a boxing match to Anderson Silva, of which was a draw. So there you go, Jesse. You got another story wrong. But we're even now. You took a shot at me. You knew it was a draw. You took a shot at me. I took a shot at you. Your move. Back to my subject. I rewatched this thing. It does nothing but make Khabib look cool. Nothing. It serves no other purpose. It does not promote a fight. It does not tell a story. It doesn't do anything except make Khabib look cool. Now, hear me out on that. It does not make Conor look bad. It doesn't make the UFC look bad. It didn't make Dylan Dennis look bad. The whole thing was very well done. But you do come away, and there is a hero to the story, and his name is Khabib. For sure. How come? And where in history have you ever seen that? Where in UFC history? Feel free to go back to 93. You don't even have to put it in the Dana White era. You don't even have to stop at 17 under Zuffa. You can roll right into WMEING. Where have you ever seen that? Where did we take a guy who no longer is under contract, who no longer has a return on investment, and when did we build him and put him over to the level that we win? Right. If you have the fight and the fight exists and you put a fight out, there's a number of reasons that could happen. One, man, the numbers just comes up. 2, it's a good rate. 3, you're doing a favor for the fans. 4, you don't really think about it and you just put one out. Like, there's a number of ways that could happen. This was given tremendous thought. Bersari and boys brought this in, re-edited it, and put something out that only did one thing. It made Khabib look cool. Now, Khabib is having a number of things that are changing, or at least going on within his life. Does that equal a return? I understand that that's what I'm flirting with. But that's because I want to pursue the concept. And first off, I'm bringing you something. I mean, not for nothing. Whether that's a return or there's some other announcement or there's something where something is going on. Period. They did not go in, edit this, and put this out. I'm just, that I will assure you of. By the way, when I tell you things like I'm guessing, you know I'm not. You know I know. So be smart enough to hear what I'm not saying, all right? Now, the lesson though. What if he came back? Don't make any mistake. They did not lose him at 29-0 because of commas or zeros in the contract. And that was the mistake, respectfully. But when they wanted Khabib to go on and they kept bringing him new numbers, that was not the number that needed adjusted. And whether you'd have got him to 30-0 or not, you'd have had one hell of a lot of a better shot. But the number you needed to adjust was 155 to 170. The fighters that you see retire do not retire because they're done with the sport. They say that they're done making weight. So I remind you of that because what if Khabib was coming back? And that's where I get into the lesson part of it. What if Khabib was coming back? What if everything that I'm telling you is true? What if Bersari and the boys did go in the kitchen and they did put that out and they were building Khabib, but it turns out they weren't just building Khabib, they were building Khabib versus Conor, which if Khabib is to return is what he's going to do. Make no mistake. It's going to be what he's offered to do. He's not coming back at 55. He's not going to have heat with Islam. He's not going to pursue Islam. If Khabib came back, he's coming back and he's going to fight Conor. And I'm not making a prediction for you, right? Obviously, I have more information. I'm playing the obvious, but I also have enough information to tell you that that's not like giving you a prediction. keep your eyes open. So what would that do with Chandler? Chandler has done nothing wrong, but neither would have the UFC. And when you say, hey, this guy comes back, he's coming back against you, and you would mean that full well, but you would also be a very honest person to have said those words and meant it when you said it. You did not have the option. This was not an option. This was a player that came in out of nowhere. This got tested one time, and there was some hard feelings about it, but it had to do with the Ultimate Fighter. And Pat Miletich was going to be a coach, and that was done. He was assigned. Pat was doing that, and he was excited. Pat wanted to do it. And if there was anyone that was a great coach and deserved some recognition, boy, particularly back then, Pat had like 3 champions in his room. He only had like 8 guys, and he had 3 world champions. But BJ Penn called up, and Dana was never expecting it. BJ Penn calls up out of nowhere and says, I want to do it, and I want to do it against Frank Yeager. Now BJ did a couple of them, and one was Jen. So even if I'm switching, just a little bit, but before you think you have to correct me in the comments section, the point was, hey, Pat, we're not doing that. But we're not doing that because we changed our mind or we found somebody else or we don't want you. We have to do this now. This just came up. This fell in our lap. We got to go with this. Great. I think that we understood it, but I'm sharing with you for a period of time, there was hard feelings. That got worked out and later it got understood. And I'm only going back to an old example. If Khabib were to come back, he's coming back at 170, which is the reason we didn't get to 30-0 in the first place. And I would actually appreciate when Khabib sees this if he gives me the nod on that one. If he would give me the nod and say, Chael is right. Whether I would have stopped at 29 or 30, who knows? But you would have got a lot further with me as opposed to offering me $8 million if you would have spotted me 15 pounds. I'd really appreciate that. I just think that'd be a nice thing. And I am right. And it speaks to the point. For example, Circarian beats Charles Oliveira, becomes a #1 contender, finds himself suspended because of a fan that had nothing to do. Like when all of these decisions were made, I was there when it was Hunter. And Hunter goes to the door as Circarian's coming out of the ring at UFC 300. But we didn't know at that time that the Nevada State Athletic Commission was going to suspend him. Now, yes, Circarian said no. Yes, that created an opportunity for Poirier, but it still made Circarian next. And I'm just sharing for you. We don't know if he's going to be next or not. There's a gentleman in the WWE a number of years ago. I cannot produce the name for it, but it's a big star, one that you would know. And he was put into the Hall of Fame. And something happened the night of the Hall of Fame. Something happened where he didn't make it to the building. And it wasn't a matter that they played his montage and hey, in his absence. But he goes, it wasn't a matter of that. He didn't walk the stage. They didn't put him in. To this day, he's not in. Nothing is done until it's done.